This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 31, Surviving Supernatural Shizzle. Hi and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 31, Surviving Supernatural Shizzle. Along with all the normal banter and waffle news and reviews, we will be delving into what we've learned over the years from films, TV and media on how to survive horrors. As always, I am joined by
Brett Summers
and Damien Hicks.
And I have the mantle of being host for this evening, and I'm Paul Hawkins.
Hi, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
I thought I'd try and change things up and have you guys introduce yourselves first, but then I got confused.
We know. We know a song about that, don't we, children?
So slightly different for our listeners this week. If you notice a dip in potential sound quality, hands up, my fault. I had a slight injury over the weekend. Did my back in, so I am taking things easy, shall we say. So we're back to recording virtually as opposed to in the studio. So if you notice a dip in sound quality, as I said, then that may be the reason why. Okay, so one of us is in the studio, but the rest of us are having to slum it.
I didn't say a word.
Yeah, so you're looking around.
Yeah,
I was actually looking around thinking more you was using the word studio for what is essentially
a bar.
Pub in a garage, yeah.
Well, to be fair though, with the mic setup and all that kind of stuff, it looks quite good.
Yeah, so
And if I had a studio, then I'd probably have all the same gins and alcohol that you did in the background anyway.
Yeah. So Damien's at home in the studio. I'm at my house, and Paul's at his house, smacked up on painkillers.
Rock and roll.
Let's see how it goes by the end of the podcast.
Yeah. But at least it's only painkillers this time. Okay, so.
This time. Sorry, carrying on.
So coming straight over to Brett. How's your week been, Brett? And what have you mainly been watching and perusing on the box?
Well, I am up to season 4 of The Sopranos now. In my bid to watch all of it before I watch the Many Saints in Newark. It's still going well. I can still remember some of it and still be surprised by other bits of it because it's been obviously that long since it's been on. Some of it's a bit more brutal than I remember it being, or maybe I just thought it was more fun back in my younger days.
Well, violence can be, and then we grow up.
Yeah, and then we realise the consequences of the actions of said violence. A racehorse died.
What, just in general?
It kind of got burnt to death in the stables. That was a whole big plot point. If you know where we're talking about, you'll know where I am. And we've just had Christopher Moltisante's intervention, where they all meet to talk about his heroin addiction. And then as they share their statements with him during the intervention, he fires back with comments about them, and he ends up getting kicked to shit on the floor during his intervention. That was an intervention host that fears for his life. So, don't get involved in drugs. Don't get involved in drugs or mobsters, kids. It doesn't
or horses.
Or horses. But that's been really good. And the other thing I was lucky enough to watch this week was the first episode of the Chucky TV series. Cult Faction got a little preview of that before it launched, and it will be. Well, there's some more news on that later on. but stay tuned for that. But the actual episode was a huge thumbs up for me. It follows on from the events of the Cult of Chucky film. And as I've said before, what I love about the Chucky franchise and the man behind it, Don Mancini in particular, is that every film has followed on from the next one. Any corner he's written himself into, he has managed to write himself out of. He hasn't had to resort to, let's just pretend that film didn't exist and do another one. Michael Myers, Halloween, we're listening. We know you're listening. And other films as such. Now, everything has flowed on. He's brought back original cast members at different times, different references. You know, he's kept his own franchise viable, realistic for what it is. Obviously, it's a talking doll, and has kept that long-term storytelling going. Now, with the episode 1, which is titled "Death by Misadventure," we meet a young 14-year-old sort of middle school student called Jake Wheeler, who comes across a Chucky doll at a yard sale, and he's like an artist who makes stuff with dolls and sort of chops them up, makes art with them and stuff like that. A little bit like that kid that lives next door in Toy Story.
I was going to say, yeah. It's
But,
like Stan of Toy
yeah.
Story.
But he does it for like an art thing. He's like an artist and all that.
Sid, isn't it?
And
Oh, Sid.
Thanks, yeah.
Damien.
Just, I didn't want you to get letters. People
Yeah.
tweeting you and all sorts.
Now,
Carry on.
Jake's father, a guy called Lucas, is like a sort of tough old school dad who like drinks whiskey and probably, not the nicest dad. You're kind of a typical sort of.
Well,
dad
everything in moderations, Brett. I mean, he's...
No. He's walking around with a bottle. He's walking around with a bottle in his hand. He's got a cut-off sleeveless shirt on. Things aren't going to end well. And
something tells me he's not drinking 50-year-old malt.
Yeah, and he doesn't like the fact that his son's a bit of an artist and all that. And as it goes on, it turns out that the son, I believe, said he was either gay or bi. I can't remember the exact bit now. And obviously, he doesn't like that because he wants his son to be a real man and do sports and stuff and not do sculptures with dolls and things. But anyway, Jake takes Chucky home, and it's going to be like his next project. And there's some people at the school that kind of bully him a little bit. And then later on, he gets this phone call of a mysterious voice asking him about the Chucky doll that he bought and what was the name of the doll. And he says, "Oh, Chucky." And he says it could be Charles Lee Ray, and he needs to get rid of that doll already. Now, the voice on the phone, I'm pretty sure, is the kid that played Andy Barclay in the original film, who turned up in a couple of the films later on as well. And so he's going to be coming back into it. So Jake throws the doll away. There's a school talent show where he gets forced on the stage with Chucky. He does like a ventriloquist dummy act, so Chucky just sort of slags everyone off. And everyone thinks it's the kid who said it. The usual, it wasn't me, it was the doll, but no one believes him. And it builds up to a big thing where later on he gets home and his dad decides to take a baseball bat to his sculpture. He's got this big sculpture of all dolls' heads and smashes it to bits. And Jake wishes his father was dead. Chucky too was a little bit annoyed at that, and then Jake's dad mysteriously gets electrocuted in the basement. And and Chucky's gone and sat in the corner.
Now, is there?
Well, no, I'm just going through the whole thing, but it's really good.
Yeah, you're going through the whole episode.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the only thing I've watched. So I need to talk about it. And but there's a lot of stuff going on, but you haven't seen that much Chucky yet. You've seen the doll
building it up.
He said a couple of things here or there, and we know what's going on. There's a bit when he buys him from the yard sale, and as he takes the doll away, the lady turns around and there's a knife rack, and she went, "Oh no, someone's stolen the butcher knife." And you're like, that Chucky, and there's little hints and nods in there of some other things and bits in the past and that. But I'll give you the sort of, it's episode 1. It's like, I think it's like 10 episodes or something. So it's not.
Cool. So they really invested in it then.
Yeah, no, it's going. Yeah. And Brad Dourif's back. Jennifer Tilly pops up. We haven't seen it yet, but apparently Fiona Dourif's back as the was it Nika from Cult of Chucky, when she played the paraplegic woman. And then, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to say that. And it looks like there may be a lot of other characters from the past Child's Play movies who may be making appearances here or there. So yeah, a big thumbs up. Looking forward to how this goes. And yeah, go watch it. You won't be disappointed. Unless you hated the Chucky films, then you'll hate it. But if you don't know, you'll really like it. And yeah, do it. But there'll be more on that a little bit later.
Great.
Ooh.
So is that literally it for you? You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been work busy, and I just really want to see the new Sopranos movie, but I don't want to watch it until I've seen all the episodes and I've got it all fresh in my head again. So I've just been on like trying to just burn through those now, and I'm managing about a season a week at the moment.
Over to Mr. He says he's finished and he hasn't.
I was gonna say I do need to sleep at some point though. But yeah,
sleep is overrated.
No,
Damien.
Really like to get some sleep. That would be nice.
It's only 9 o'clock. Long way to go yet. Come on, let's move over to you. Maybe you should get yourself a drink. That might get you into the spirit.
Maybe. Anyway.
It's a good job it's not the fun Halloween week, isn't it?
That was last week.
Exactly.
We had so much fun. This week is the
The
one where we
comedown.
realised that there's far too many weeks in Halloween, and some knobhead at the very front of the month said we're having a month-long special Halloween episodes, and
we all agreed to it.
I know, but we should have thought more clearly. Anyway, have you been wondering what the guy that played Jim Carver in The Bill or Paul Dano has been doing since The Bill got cancelled?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
What about you, Brett? Have you been wondering that?
I'm trying to remember who Jim Carver is. I remember liking him.
He was the
Didn't he have an affair with the
dude from Quadrophenia?
That's right. Yeah. And
I have been wondering that.
He had a whirlwind of a time on the Bill. He became an alcoholic for a while, and then I think he got demoted because I think the last when the Bill finished, he was back in uniform.
Yeah, because he was the original one from the pilot, wasn't he? He was like the one we saw all the way through.
Yeah, I think
when
so.
When it was wooden,
right
when it was Wooden Tops.
Wooden Tops. That's right. Yeah, see, you're not the only one that knows this shit, Brett. I knew it was.
I know. I'm glad other people do know, because then I feel better about myself. I feel like I haven't wasted my life.
Anyway, so
yeah,
the
what
guy
has
that
he been
played
doing?
Jim Carver, Paul Dano, who's still obviously trying to keep up with the pretense that he's a bona fide actor, and Toya Wilcox.
Okay.
Also from Quadrophenia.
Also from Quadrophenia, you're right. Have you been wondering what they've been up to?
Are they doing a Quadrophenia tour?
No, they're not. They're getting involved in utter arse gravy films such as 2019's Dollhouse.
Is that the one we did a pre?
No.
It's a different one, is it?
No, this is on Amazon, and it's got pretty decent title card. And I thought it's a British horror. I recognise the name of the director. I will go on to later why I recognise the name of the director, but we won't go there just yet. And they've made a film in 2019 called Doll's House. Can you guess what the story might be?
Is there a doll's house in it?
Is it about they move into a house and there's a doll's house there that's possessed?
No, actually.
Huh.
So there's this woman who happens to be.
Is she a 80s singer that no one really remembers anymore?
No. I'll get on to Toya in a bit. So there's this woman who, for some reason, is mute due to a traumatic experience, and I don't think we ever actually find out what the traumatic experience is.
I just thought in the modern world, is it that she just didn't know how to push the button to turn the mic on?
No, she just writes everything down on post-it notes.
Just to be clear, I am not mocking the disabled.
You are, Brett. It's too late. You can't backtrack now.
I was making a modern reference.
Just like to say that Brett doesn't speak on behalf of the podcast. That's his personal view.
Exactly. Anyway, so this woman who doesn't speak runs a kind of halfway house for troubled teens. So this girl turns up, and randomly at the same time a doll's house turns up, and everyone just thinks the doll house has arrived with the girl, and then people die. This goes on for a running time of 86 minutes. There's hardly any dialogue, which I get. You could say, well, she's mute, that's fine, but other characters should speak. There's far too many long shots.
Maybe they can't because they can't act or something.
Well, this is the problem. And when they do open their mouth, they can't act. With the exception, to be fair, old Jim Carver, whatever his real name is, which I'm sure Brett is Googling as we speak, doesn't do a bad turn, but that's probably out of the 86 minutes, he's probably in it for about 6 minutes as the child psychiatrist. It's just appalling, and avoid it. Luckily, it's on Amazon, so I didn't pay for it, but if I had, I would be asking for my money back.
So that's Doll's House. I'm assuming that's a thumbs down.
It's very much a thumbs down.
I wouldn't know about the other bits. You said there are other bits about this, and it's Mark Wingett.
And the director. You recognise the director.
So if I just let me carry on talking.
Oh, I thought you.
I'd finished Doll's House. So now we move on to something that we did do a trailer review for some time ago, in the lead up to our Halloween specials, and that was the Ghost of Borley Rectory. The Ghosts of Borley Rectory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes. Remember the trailer for this? You had Colin Baker, Toya.
Yeah, I was going to say you've had a Toya marathon, haven't you?
I have. And Tom Ellison, aka Burnside.
Yep.
And the only thing I can say going for it is
Toya Wilcox. It's
mildly better than Dollhouse.
Wow.
So as you said, Toya Wilcox pops up twice. In both these two films, pretty much playing the same character, a psychic, except in Dollhouse it's contemporary. In Borley Rectory, it's 1937 or something. It has a slightly longer runtime, probably the same amount of dialogue. Colin Baker, I should say, is in it for all of 7 minutes. So those bits we saw in the trailer where they sat around the table, that's pretty much Tom Baker. God, bloody hell. Colin Baker's bit in the film. It's bad. It's really bad. We thought, looking at that, it was going to be a fun horror that's camp as Butlins. It's not.
I didn't.
It's truly trying to be serious, and it fails miserably. So don't watch it. Don't pay $4.99 that I did to watch it on Amazon Prime.
So that's 2 strikes.
I'm just looking at Doll's House now, and it's got Paul Danan in it as well.
I did say that.
That's what Damien said.
Yeah, I know. I was busy Googling, as he said, while I was doing it.
Yeah, that's your problem. You don't listen.
Don't listen to anything that anyone says. You're straight to the Dollhouse. I'm going to see if there's something.
Come on. Let's see if we can get out of this funk. So Damien, is there anything that you watched that can maybe put a positive spin on?
I doubt it. Finished that Icelandic.
Oh yeah.
Volcano nonsense. Katla.
Do they survive? Or what happened?
What can I say?
Oh dear. Is it better than that film Doll's House?
It's better than Dollhouse, and it's better than The Ghost of Borley Rectory. It's not bad. It just isn't that good either. Right.
I bet the scenery's nice. If you like that kind of thing.
Covered in ash and fog and smoke, so there's not a lot of scenery to be looked at. It's a tough one. I really don't want to say it's bad because it isn't bad, but
is it just boring?
It's boring. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. There's too many episodes, and there's just not enough happening in those episodes. And again, as with everything, you question the motivation of some of the characters. I don't want to give anything away because even though I'm saying it's not great, it's not a bad watch either. It's just not as good as it looks like it's going to be. So I think it's one of those, if you're struggling for something to watch, give it a go. But if you've got a long list of Shizzle to get through, put that at the very bottom and you might never get around to watching it and your life won't be ruined because of it.
Cool.
What has Sam been up to anything this week?
No, I've not seen much of Sam this week,
Aww.
which is a shame, but I have them plussed, so in actual fact, that probably means I could just sit and actually watch them in proper order. I hadn't thought of that. That's a mighty fine idea. Can we end the podcast now?
No, we haven't got 8 years to wait for you to finish watching them all.
That's a shame. So, but one of the other reasons I haven't watched Quantum Leap is I did start watching Another Life on Netflix. Are we familiar with Another Life?
It's a bit like Afterlife.
Nothing like Afterlife.
No, maybe. Give
All
us the
I
details.
remember, I think we looked at a trailer once, or maybe I did, and it's got Starbuck from the new Battlestar Galactica, isn't it? I think. Is it that one?
That's the one.
I haven't seen it. I just remember seeing the trailer. There's probably other people in it.
Well, yeah, because it would be pretty dull if it was just her
I was just
in
imagining.
space.
Tom Hanks can do it. She can do it.
There is a list of other people. I mean, if you want me to do
You don't have to read them all.
I can read them all out if you like.
Ones we might know, one's relevant, who might pop up in other things that we might know.
Selma Blair's in it. That's
cool.
a name I recognise. And I think I recognise Jake Abel. I think he was in Supernatural, possibly.
Yeah, that sounds. I've heard of that name.
Yeah. Anyway, so simple premise is an alien craft has landed on planet Earth. It's sometime in the future. I think I might have missed the caption when it said when this time period is, but it's not distant future because they're not walking around looking like they're in Star Trek or anything stupid like that. So an alien artifact type thing has landed. It's very big. It lands, then it kind of cuts to 6 months later. You've got some scientists trying to figure out what's going on because there hasn't been any contact from it. It's not done anything other than just sort of expand into this crystallized sort of mountain thing and sort of sit there. So there's loads of scientists all sort of trying to do stuff. One of the lead scientists, his wife happens to also be some kind of super duper space astronaut jobby.
As you do.
As you are, yeah, exactly. Who is the one from wherever we were just talking about, Battlestar Galactica.
Katie Sackhoff.
That's the fella. So she also, as I say, she happens to be some sort of space astronaut. So they've decided that they're going to send off a mission to what they believe to be the planet that this thing originated from, which is 6 months away through faster than light drives and stasis and
wormholes.
No wormholes, not yet anyway.
Ooh.
And I say they don't call it stasis, they call it something else. But if you're a Red Dwarf fan like me, it's just stasis. It's always going to be stasis. I don't care what you say. Call it whatever you like. It's stasis.
I just want one of those films to go, let's do space sleep. It's something nice and simple.
But anyway, so she goes off. She's got a crew, and they seem to be making a point of all the crew are under the age of 30, and they're all
So Shatner wasn't.
No, certainly not. He's I'd imagine dead by the point this is set. But
they're
making a point
out of interest, are they quite a diverse crew?
Exactly, yeah, and they're making a point of that. It doesn't matter, but what annoys me is that they're making a point of it.
Yeah.
Just have them there. It doesn't matter what. I think all that sort of stuff is kind of irrelevant if the show works. But anyway, so they're all obviously, as you'd expect, under 30s to be. It gets off to a bit of a shaky start. They all seem to overact and just seem to be shouting at each other for it's
what kids
Big
do.
Brother in space.
It's what kids do, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it calms down and it actually becomes quite good. And season 2 has just dropped, so it must be getting some. Well, not that they tell you how much ratings Netflix gets, but some people must be watching it because season 2 dropped last week. So
cool.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not great. It's not brilliant.
But it's got potential. It's got
potential. So I'm only 5 or 6 episodes in. It gets a little bit frustrating because they're spending too much time in space and not back down on Earth looking at what the artifacts are doing. But I'm sure that's a long game.
Now, so
we'll see. That's it.
Cool. So I have spent a lot of the time literally on my back watching telly. And obviously I was restricted to my bed, so that involved what channels I had available, one of which was Disney. So I went through some of the Marvel universe, Infinity Wars, Endgame, all that kind of good stuff. Delved back into Star Wars to see if that has improved over time, and the latest trilogy, and no, they haven't. They're still as bad as they always were. I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't need to about those. You season 3 has started back on Netflix, so we watched the first episode of that. So You's the one where he's a serial killer, and he basically has lots of trials and tribulations trying to evolve and live in the real world. But basically, every time he sees a woman, he falls in love and ends up having to be with her. But anyway, the season 3 is him and his murderous partner have moved to a different area, and instantly in the first episode he sees a neighbour and falls in love with her. So she's now the new You. Won't give any more away. It's still really good. If you've seen season 1 and season 2, definitely start watching it. If you haven't, give them a watch because they are quite good, quite different.
I seem to remember that I did about 2 episodes and lost patience.
I can imagine you would lose patience, but if you cut through some of the talking and monologues that he does, it is actually quite good. So continued watching Foundation, with my my blank canvas.
Yeah, your eyes open to their intentions.
Wipe the slate clean, and I'd love to say I had an epiphany. It's visually stunning. If you didn't know, and if you hadn't heard that about Foundation from Apple or any press or PR, it's visually stunning. And this is what we say every week. And it is. It's a really good production.
I think season 2 is actually going to be called just Visually Stunning.
Yeah, Foundation and Visually Stunning here. I'm still not on board with this. I don't get the hype. And this is even putting aside, forget it's Foundation based. It's just not very good. It feels like a high. You remember in the 90s, there were loads of different science fiction films about setting up colonies and colonizing and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Some of them were low budget. Some of them on random cable channels at the time. This just feels like a really high production quality version of those. Maybe I'm just still missing it. Maybe I'm carrying on some baggage from the being a fan of the books, but I'm still not getting it at the moment. But I'll continue to watch it. Do my due diligence to make sure that the series doesn't get any worse and improves. I mean, they got this second series and in the bag now, so they're going to start production on that. So it must be doing well. But yeah, I'll carry on feeding back if there's anything worthwhile. If not, then I'll just pretend I'm not watching it. So also on Apple, it was the season finale of C this week, so episode 8 of C. And for the last few weeks, I've just been saying, well, it's kind of nothing. It's kind of scene building, plot building. There's not really much going on. It all feels like they're coming just planning for this one final battle at the end. Well, that's basically what the last episode of C is. It's a big battle between Jason Momoa, who plays Baba Voss, and Dave Bautista, who plays Edo Voss, his brother. And their armies go up against each other and have a bit of a battle, and it's really good. It's just a shame that not like the series like Game of Thrones, where there was a big battle pretty much every episode, or some big action sequence every episode. It's just been one at the start and pretty much one at the end, and all the middle episodes were a bit but no, it was really good. I'm not going to give anything away, but Baba and his brother have a little duel themselves after the main battle's taken place, and yeah, one shall enter, one shall fall. But I know you guys haven't seen that, but no pun intended. But if you do get around to subscribing to Apple, then give it a go. Also, as I was going in to watch season finale, I noticed, and I don't know how it escaped me before, 2 lost Ted Lasso episodes. So I thought I finished this some time ago. because it felt like it was the end of the season finale, because maybe because it was just how it was pitched. But no, there were 2 other episodes that I completely missed. So I watched those, and yeah, it's definitely really good. And yeah, I think we already dropped the news that it's getting another series. So yeah, all on board for that. So on the next on the list, at the advice of one of the podcast members, I took a trip down what is a really, really good film called Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
How good is it?
It is really good. So basically, the storyline follows a serial killer, psycho stalker. And he's got a film crew that he's given permission to follow him around and learn the tricks of the trade about
documentary.
About filming a documentary about the life and times of being a stalker, and the trying to work out the reasons for him doing it. I'm certainly not going to give away anything to do with this, because you just need to give it a watch. It's really good. The acting's really good as well, and yes, it's a kind of documentary or a when I first started watching, I thought, oh God, is this just going to be a what was it, Blair Witch type thing? But it's absolutely not. It's done really, really, really well. And as I said, all the acting is really good in it. Nathan Basil, or I think that's how he pronounces name, who plays Leslie Vernon, or is he? Does a really good job. And so does his co-star Angela Goethals, who plays the documentary maker. It's just really good. The chemistry between them is really good. The storyline's really good. The comedy in it's really good. And also we get cameo performances by Zelda Rubinstein, who we all know and love from Poltergeist, the psychic lady. Yeah, and horror aficionado and star Robert Englund pops up in it as well. Definitely give it a watch if you haven't seen it. I don't know how it's escaped me over these years, because it's been out for some time. I think it was early 2000s it was out, or something like that. So,
I think it was 2009, something like I found it years later. Someone just mentioned it to me, and they're like, you know what I'm talking about, and I was like, I've never heard of this film before.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? And I went and I went and bought it on DVD on eBay straight away, because they were like, and before I even watched it.
No, it's definitely worth a watch. And just to round up my watching delights this week, I decided to buy Candyman.
The new one.
New one.
Candyman.
Thank. Yeah. So this stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Loads of other people. Vanessa Williams makes an appearance. This basically forgets the sequels. It pretends it didn't exist, and probably rightly so. And this picks
that's
up.
Not a bad shout.
Yeah, so this basically picks up with a new. It's not necessarily a twist, but it's done in a different way. That they've tried to make it more about. Well, you kind of get to know the characters a bit better, and also that they've kind of. I don't want to say politicized some of the goings on out in the States, but you can kind of get that tone that, Candyman's almost not a good guy, but the reasons for his demise are carrying on. And so while some people are obviously going to get killed, actually some of them may be looked after, shall we say. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's not jaw-droppingly brilliant. It's not anything radically different to the original. Some would say that the original holds probably a better place in the horror tomes, because it's more but it was the original one, and again this one is always going to be compared to that, but it's shot in a different way. and you can't really compare them. I mean, Candyman, the original, was a full-out slasher with comedy, and this takes a different tone to it. It would make more sense if you guys watch it, but as I said, it's more gritty is the wrong word, but it's got that kind of feel.
I'd read somewhere that they tried to make it more almost like the folklore of it. Does that sound?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, if I'm honest with you, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You know, they don't go into too much detail. You know, I mean, I thought of the original that they did a good job in that and of bringing that to life, as it were. No pun intended again. That they go a bit further into it and call on some other things as well, which again I don't want to give too much away. But they do expand a little bit on it as well. But cool. it's not like it's going to rock your world. Oh, that's the reason, because you kind of know why Candyman was there. But yeah, it's worth a watch. I just wouldn't pay the £15 or whatever it is at the moment, waiting until it's actually released on Sky or other cable channels or whatever. And that's me done.
Bloody hell. Really? I just don't know what to say.
But there was still, I watched a lot of Marvel and Disney films. So
No.
Each one of those was 3 hours long. That was a lot of time.
So Damien, now in the next week, you need to go on Amazon and watch Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Don't tell me what I need to do.
Why did you do that?
All right, don't watch it.
News desk.
The news.
News items. So, as the jingle would suggest, it's now time for the news and going through all the news items hot off the press this week. So, without further ado, news. So, first off, why The Last Man has been cancelled by FX on Hulu.
Yep, that's right. So, what?
I was going to say, I haven't actually watched any of this, even though...
No, that's what I was about to say. It only dropped about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but they've opted not to renew it. So I don't know whether that means it's hasn't been getting the ratings or not, because I think like Netflix, like Amazon, they don't necessarily release their viewing figures, do they? They kind of keep it all secret. So quite possibly there won't be a second season, although showrunner Eliza, however you want to pronounce that. Go on,
Eliza.
Brett.
I would have said Eliza.
I would have said Eliza, but you know, in this day and age, with Kanye West changing his name to Yee or whatever it is, you never know.
Yeehaw.
Anyway, yeah. So Eliza Clark has vowed to look for a new home for the drama, so it might get picked up by Netflix, because they picked up so else was cancelled a couple of weeks back, wasn't it? Was it Manifest?
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, that got canned, but Netflix picked that up for its third final season. I never watched it, so I don't know how many there has been. So who knows? But it's kind of does put me off starting to watch it if
it's not.
Cancelled.
I was waiting for it.
I don't care if it's any good or not. But what would annoy me if it ends on a cliffhanger and there is no second season?
We've been burned like that before.
Exactly.
Flash forward.
Yeah, exactly. So
I wouldn't mind, but that was
it was good.
38 episodes or something for a series, and you get through it and it's like, oh, that's it now.
Yeah, we're not going to carry on. Brilliant. Cheers for that.
Okay, so
but it still may find life somewhere else, hopefully.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So let's just wait and see. But as you said, I'm probably not going to watch it now. Right, next on the list, Sci-Fi UK picks up Day of the Dead series.
Yeah, that's right. George A. Romero may be dead, but his show lives on, and Sky in the UK have picked up the rights to the Day of the Dead TV series, which is already airing on the USA Network in America. It's from the Abbott Street Films and Carto Entertainment, and it's an intense story of 6 strangers trying to survive the first 24 hours of an undead invasion. It's not really a remake, it's more an ode to Romero's previous flesh-eating superstar extravaganzas, and but there may be some hordes of hungry zombies still turning up to rip people apart. It's going to be good. It's zombies. It comes from the original source, really, of zombies. So, and it's coming to the UK now.
It's tough one though, isn't it? I mean, are they going to be able to do anything different to the reams of other stuff that's already out there? So, but
I mean, to me, zombies are kind of been done.
And done to
Especially
death.
Yeah, especially with The Walking Dead. But then
Exactly.
you did have stuff like Train to Busan and things like that really upped the ante on the zombie film. So hopefully, maybe we'll get a
Yeah,
bit
that's
of
a
a
film,
modern
isn't it? So
spin.
when you've got a TV show, you've got to make it longer for a start. So
Yeah,
does that just mean we're going to get another Walking Dead?
Walking Dead. Because there's another Walking Dead I saw on
it's
Netflix or something.
There's about 3 spin-offs
Yeah.
plus
Yes.
something that we're going to mention in a minute in the news.
Yeah, stay tuned to the news. But
Right.
I'm going to give it a watch, and then I'll see. Because
What's
if
it on?
if they follow, well, it's going to be on
Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi UK. Sky's picked it up for
Okay,
Sci-Fi
fine.
UK. They ain't given us a date yet, but they will. Or either that, or they just bang it all on at once.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, I'll probably give it a watch. Okay, so next, we've already mentioned this before, but Chucky, the TV series, has been picked up by Sky in the UK and it's coming later in 2021.
Yeah, so we talked about Chucky just now and how good it is. So UK fans, don't worry, we haven't got long to wait. He's coming, he's bringing his friends, and we're going to get some untold stories of the Demon Doll's origins and the man behind him, Charles Lee Ray. But if you want to hear more about it, wind it back and listen to what I said earlier again. But come in later in 2021, Chucky, the TV series, is coming to the UK. Rewind.
Cool. I love the fact that people might just skip to the news bit and not listening to the waffle and the banter.
To be fair, I think I
now-
probably would.
Yeah, but now they know that they missed something important. They'll have to go back. They'll have
He's
to
probably.
rewind.
I listen on Apple, so I think I would listen at like twice the speed to get through that first bit until we get to the news.
Wow, people listen to us sounding like the Bee Gees.
I reckon so. I would.
Whether you're a mother or whether you're a brother, you're staying alive. Now, if you speed that up, that'll sound like it. See? Right, let's move on. So Apple TV orders comedy Shrinking from Jason Segel and the Ted Lasso team.
Yep, that's right. So Apple TV has given a series order to Shrinking, a 10-episode comedy series that will star Jason Segel, who also serves as writer and executive producer, and it follows a grieving therapist, played by Jason Segel, who starts to break the rules and tell his clients exactly what he thinks. Ignoring his training and ethics, he finds himself making huge, tumultuous changes to people's lives, including his own. I'm getting a little bit of, even though the premise is different, I'm getting a little bit of Afterlife vibes about that concept.
I was thinking that film with Dudley Moore where he ends up in a mental home and he does advertising with Daryl Hannah.
That's a good film, that. Can't remember what it's called, but yeah, good film.
Cool, okay. And the writers from Ted Lasso. So after watching those two series?
Yeah, I did. I think I skipped a few names there, which it's just not important for the news. I can read them out if you want me to.
No. I was just mentioning the fact that they wrote Ted Lasso. So cool, let's move on.
You cut his heroes out, Damien.
Okay, Bill Lawrence and Brett Goldstein. There we go.
Cool. So next,
Cool
AMC have greenlit Tales of the Walking Dead anthology series.
Yeah, it's an episodic anthology series that will expand the universe and the franchise of The Walking Dead with 1 hour standalone episodes focused on both new and established characters set in the world of the original series that no one cares about anymore.
Yeah, move on. Don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like the
I actually
show,
feel ashamed that I put it on the news now.
well, it's a global franchise. People do like it. Most people have just sort of maybe like had enough though. It's just like, get on with it now. It's just rebuild society already.
Yeah, okay, well, let's try and forget that. And what better way than Cheech Chong's Chronicles, the graphic novel, is coming.
That's right. The first ever Cheech Chong graphic novel. It's here. Totally broke and out of weed, the world's most iconic stoners, Pedro
Granville.
Why is that so hard to say? Pedro de Pacas,
Keith
Keith Marin, and Anthony Man Stoner, Tommy Chong, are in a bad way. That is until they get a call that changes their life. Cheech's old friend and casino manager in Reno needs an emergency opening act for his stage show. If they can make it, the job is theirs. Sounds a bit like a classic road trip type thing.
Which is most of their stuff, really.
Yeah, that's good.
But
I think it's just a shame it's not going to be a film. Maybe it
Or
will
a
be.
series.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what paper it's going to be printed on. I bet there's an option for that.
Okay, so finally, from the script, Wonder Woman 3 is in development.
Yeah, we've just recently had the DC Fandom event where all sorts of stuff's been announced and trailers dropped, which we'll talk about in a minute. But one of the big things was that Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, along with Linda Carter, who cameoed in Wonder Woman 1984, have announced that, Jenkins said, to quote, "We're super excited about Wonder Woman 3. Gal is so bummed about not being here. She's the busiest person in the world now with 3 little kids and shooting. We're all 3 very excited about some things coming up with Wonder Woman 3. And then Linda Carter, who, I don't know if you've seen her in a lot of her public appearances lately, is often very, very enthusiastic and not drunk, shouted out, Wonder Woman 3 is coming. So,
when you say Gal Gadot's shooting, I'm taking it she's not.
Yeah, I'm taking it she's not into drugs or guns. It's just shooting films. But I mean,
I thought it was about shooting kids. I missed the. I have to be honest, I wasn't really paying that much attention. But
it just says she's the busiest person in the world now with 3 little kids in shooting.
Oh right,
I'm guessing she means
it's not shooting. Kids.
But I think Jenkins and Carter may have had a glass of wine before the press conference. Maybe I'm not sure. But Wonder Woman 3 is coming. Wonder Woman, the first film, was really good. Wonder Woman 2 was just creepy, or Wonder Woman 1984 was just creepily weird and not that good, and kind of morally corrupt because she go and listen to our thing on it, or read my review on cultfaction.com. And this one hopefully brings the balance back, and will hopefully again feature Linda Carter in her cameo. We'll see what happens. Cool. But could be a good thing.
Before we move on, or sorry, Paul, have you got anything you want to add about Wonder
Woman? I was just going to say, so it's not on the list, but big news over the last couple of days is the fact that Marvel and Disney movies are all being reconfigured and pushed back. So when you thought you were going to be watching a film or looking forward to watching films early next year and throughout, they've all been pushed back, some by over a year, which is a bit.
Yeah, I saw that.
A bit of a shame.
I didn't put it on the news because I really didn't want a long-winded.
No.
Well, we don't have to go through all of them, but
you're right. They have been moved back.
Yeah, basically they defeated Thanos, but not COVID, and now everything's been pushed back.
So that's a good tagline to end on. However, I do have a question before we go on to the drop zone. What exactly? And if you could do this as quickly and as succinctly as possible, what is DC Fandom?
DC Fandom is basically, it's normally about once a year, although they do keep creeping them up now. It's basically it started during lockdown and all that, where rather than going to the various Super Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, where a lot of Marvel and all that do their own announcements, DC have been doing their own one online where you can watch it live, log in, and different people come up and go through all the different projects. I mean, there's been loads of stuff to do with the comics and new comics that come out, their animation stuff, the films, the video games, and it's just been they're basically their own online Comic-Con festival type thing.
So instead of doing the donkey work and going to the conventions like Marvel do, they go to a studio and just bang out a load of promos. Is that?
But it's live. It's live.
Oh, okay.
And you get the people
Still,
there.
it's not as much effort, is it?
Well, maybe they're thinking ahead.
Okay, that's fine. That's all I wanted to know.
Drop zone.
Drop zone.
Okay, so now it's time for the drop zone, and first item we're going to be talking about and watching the trailer for is The Flash.
Yeah, we finally get a sneak peek of The Flash thanks to the DC Fandom, and it's going to be directed by Andrew. Is it sneak peek or is it a blur? It's directed by Andrew Muschietti, from the screenplay was Christina Hodson, and we've got Ezra Miller back as Barry Allen the Flash, with Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton as various Batmans. You got Sasha Calle, Kiersey Clements, and a bunch of other people. And anyway, in The Flash, Barry Allen travels back in time to prevent his mother's murder, which brings loads of unintended consequences that you may have already seen if you've read Flashpoint or watched the DC Flashpoint animated movie or seen the Flashpoint episode of the Flash TV series. All slightly different interpretations, but you get a hint of it in here. But this movie is promising to bring this on a much bigger scale. Let's have a look.
Okay, so that was The Flash.
With the exception of possibly the Michael Keaton angle and Ben Affleck, basically with the exception of Batman being in it, I don't see any different to the TV show that I watched 5 years ago.
The dark-haired girl behind him is the new Supergirl in the DCU as well, because they went for something different.
Okay, so I'll rephrase it then. So with the addition of some bats, I don't see any different to the TV show from 5 years ago.
So I never got on with The Flash. I didn't actually watch any of the TV series. And it was only when we saw Snyderverse cut, whatever, that I actually quite liked it. And yeah, a bit confused on whether it's The Flash or whether it's just let's bring out the mighty and great Michael Keaton, or let's just use it as any excuse we can just to get him back in the cowl, and the old Batmobile, which looks like that's coming out as well. I'm all up for that, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I don't know enough about the Flash storyline, but
I would advise, if you've not seen it, watch the Flashpoint animated movie.
No,
it's really good, and it's made for adults.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just I don't want to watch that if I want to watch the film. I want to go in it with a fresh pair of eyes. I guarantee that
the cartoon will be better.
Well, no, because that'll just sully the performances and the film that I watch.
But my
I'm happy. No, I'm happy not watching The Flash. I don't want to.
Don't then.
But then I will watch the film. I don't mind watching the film. I don't want to watch the series.
Not watching the Flash.
I don't want
to watch the series of the film. He doesn't want to watch anything else. He just wants to watch the film. So can I give? I'll give my theory though, or what I think they should do.
No. Oh, no. Okay. If it's what you think they should do, based on no comics or no series that you've watched and you already know what they're going to do.
That's impossible. He can't do that because he's read every comic, seen every cartoon, and seen every TV show. So whatever. It's irrelevant whether you say to him, don't reference the comics, even if he doesn't want to. It's going to be subliminally imbibed into the conversation.
I'll just say it.
Well, all I was going to say, in the original, the Flashpoint comic series that they made into the animated movie, it's still the whole Wally West thing where he goes back in time and saves his mum from being killed, which then changes the whole universe around him. But when he does that in the comic and the cartoon series, he goes to see, obviously he's realised the world's wrong. What do you do when the world's wrong? Find Batman. And he goes to find Batman, but now Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's father, is Batman. Bruce Wayne was killed in the alleyway mugging, and the wife goes mental and becomes a homicidal serial killer, a bit like the Joker. So I was wondering in the movie, because you've already got what's his face as Batman from the DCEU, Affleck. I think it would be a bolder step, although everyone just wants Keaton to be Batman from the old movies. I'm just wondering if it would be a bolder step if they're just cloak and daggering us and he's actually going to be Thomas Wayne. But that makes sense to people.
But Ben Affleck's in it as well, isn't he?
Over and Scott Westman, so you can crack on.
So I mean Affleck's in it as well, and it's the whole DC multiverse thing. So I'm sure we'll see lots of other people. I'm hoping the Flash in the TV series pops up because they did it the other way around. The film one popped up in the TV series, so Grant Gustin should pop up in the other one, even if it's the same scene again. Just to link it together. Even if they just cut the scene from the TV show and put that in the movie as well, I think that would work because that's where he got the name from, wasn't it? Oh, you haven't seen that one yet, have you?
I stopped watching it a while back. So,
but that's my
theory. Did he pop up as the Flash?
Yeah. Well, there's a bit where they say when they did their Crisis. Yeah, when they did their Crisis on Infinite Earths, he's like, well, and he says, "Who are you?" He goes, "Oh, you're the Flash as well." And he's like, what a cool name. So that's basically where he gets the name from. He got it from the Barry Allen from the TV show. Because he never had a name before that in the film ones. He was just, whatever, the Blur or whatever it was.
Cool.
But
right, let's move
I
on.
think it'll be good though.
Oh, okay, still talking. Yeah, okay, quick. Yeah, we kind of got that. So next trailer is Night Shooters.
Following a successful run on the global film festival circuit, IndieCan Entertainment announced the video-on-demand release of Mark Price's Night Shooters, the story of a group of filmmakers illegally shooting a low-budget horror film in an abandoned office building slated for demolition. When they inadvertently witness and film a gangland execution in the opposite building, they have to use all their skills and wits to survive the night whilst being relentlessly pursued by the gang who are hell-bent on not leaving any witnesses alive.
Cool, let's give it a watch. Cool, so that was Night Shooters. What do you think of that one?
I like, look at that. That's up my street, that is.
Yeah.
That's chibi right up. I hadn't seen that before. Looks good. I like it.
He's got a big smile on his face. Well done, Team Night Shooters.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago we did that one about people making a film about zombies in a zombie apocalypse. That looked crap. This looks like the way you should do that kind of take on comedy.
Yeah, I suspect this has got a much bigger budget than that one did. But I think it looks funny. There's no more I can add to that. It just looks funny.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's cliched. Cockney rhyming geezers. Yeah, so what? It's fun. Can't wait. When's it out, Brett? It's out now. I'm going to his. I'm off.
I can't remember.
Oh,
He didn't copy that bit, so I didn't bring that bit up.
And I've just closed the link to the trailer.
No, I like it. It kind of says a few quid, cheap packs a punch.
The bloke from Shameless in. Don't know his name.
No.
Don't start Googling it.
No, it drops November the 2nd.
Cool. Not long to go then.
So yeah, not long.
2 weeks.
At all.
That's all you need to wait, Damien. 2 weeks.
Cool.
2
Right.
weeks to get your Night Shooters fix.
Okay, so next up, the Batman.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's a new Batman. It's a new trailer, and it's not just a call; it's a warning. From Warner Brothers Pictures comes Matt Reeves, the Batman, with Robert Pattinson in the dual role of Gotham City's vigilante detective and his alter ego, the reclusive billionaire Bruce Wayne. It looks like they're actually more worried about making a superhero film than they are making it black and white and arty. But so, see what you guys think.
Okay, let's give it a watch.
The chin's all wrong.
The chin's all wrong.
Yeah, he hasn't got a Batman chin.
And he also looks like a moody teenager when he's Bruce Wayne.
So that's me out. I wasn't that far in, to be honest, but I'm definitely out now.
I'm just not buying him as Batman. He looks more like a Nightwing or something like that, as opposed to Batman there. He hasn't got the voice either.
I was the same when he was announced, but I'm more impressed, probably because I had literally no expectations of him being any good at all. And the fact that the film looks like it might be good, I think has made me more optimistic for him. But you're right, he just he's the wrong shape, and so he's almost too tall and too skinny to be Batman.
And doesn't sound like a Batman.
But we never know. He might surprise.
Well, yeah, because Batman's all about the fear, and as he says, and like the voice of Batman, and he just sounded like him. He didn't even sound like he was trying to put on a Batman voice,
Perhaps they told him not to.
Yeah, try something different.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, reading the thing about this is Batman the first year into his career or something, so he might not be the full Batman.
So he's still on probation then, is what you're saying.
Work experience.
Alfred's doing a performance plan for him, and
yeah, it's just about or in the early years of his Batman career. So I think Affleck is like Batman when he's done and dusted and he's older and beaten up and knackered, and this is him sort of young and enthusiastic and whatever else.
Yeah, but we had that with the Batman Begins and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they were really good films.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, apart from the last one was a bit ropey.
No, I didn't mind that. I was sucked in by them.
I think I've seen them. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. Don't get me wrong. Not at the cinema.
I may not.
You'll be up to about, by the time it comes out, you'll be up to like year 3 of Quantum Leap. So you've got a lot of watching to do.
Yeah, and that'll be of the new series.
Yeah,
The
the
reboot.
reboot.
Cool, so that's time for the trailers. Is it?
Nope.
No.
Oh, is there another small print? Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And finally, Doctor Who, Flux.
Yeah, Doctor Who Flux. 1 epic story, 6 thrilling chapters. Doctor Who Flux premieres on the 31st of October, 2021.
Great, let's give it a watch. Okay, so that was Doctor Who and the Northern Flux. What do we think of that?
Well, they brought out all the big guns, didn't they? You got the Sumerians. I think that's what they're called. Those rhino-looking things. No, not the rhino-looking things. The ones that were played by Mike from
the young ones. Sontarians.
Sontarians, that's it. Well done. Weeping Angels, Cybermen. They're all there.
Yeah, they're definitely building up to a big finish. What was, I hate to say it, a little bit of a disappointing run. I think she was done bad by the writers, but
yeah,
we've
spoken about this before.
The world's going to end.
Yeah.
All too green.
Yeah, the last couple with Angry Scottish Man as well. They're I've forgotten his name.
Billy Connolly?
No, the one from the thick of it.
Oh, Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, Capaldi. I mean, played it well, but again, some of the writing I think let them down. And well, obviously, I think they're trying to redeem it now. They're not, like you say, an all guns blazing finish. There'll be a cliffhanger at the end of this that will then lead into, I imagine, one at Christmas if it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think I've seen someone with a Christmas special.
And then I think she's got one more in the new year or something, and then whoever the new Doctor will be. So hopefully it'll give her a nice finale. She's worked hard on it. I just think she was let down by writing and a little bit of the old like I say, it got a bit preachy maybe.
If they go back to the roots of Sylvester McCoy, then they might be onto a winner.
It'll do. Hopefully it'll be a nice finale or the beginning of the end for her. They'll build it up, but I think it's just lacked that long-term storytelling. It's all been little sort of one-off adventures. There hasn't really been, or as far as we know.
The thing is, there's nothing wrong with that if they're good stories. There's nothing wrong with a villain of the week format for what is it? They're normally about 6 to 8 episodes, aren't they? They're not long. So there's nothing wrong with villain of the week for 6 or 8 episodes, but they have to be decent stories and decent villains, and they just weren't.
And also the chemistry between her and her sidekicks needs to be there as well. And it was lacking with Peter Capaldi in his. And I'm not getting anything from. Well, I didn't get anything from the first series because I didn't watch it. But
Well, this one's John Bishop, so
I know. Yeah, but again, I think more than likely John Bishop will do. They'll make him do like a couple of funny lines and then give him some serious acting because that's probably why he signed up for it.
Well, to be fair, one of the only good things about the last lot was Bradley Walsh. He was good in it.
Yeah, he reminded me of a younger Cribbins.
Well, he'd have probably been better. He'd probably been better if he'd have been Doctor Who.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Cheeky chappy.
Cool, blimey. All right. Doctor Who. I don't know if that really works. Anyway, Cybermen. Look at what you could have won.
Well, that's going to be the next big question we need to look forward to in the next 6 months. Will be who's the next Who? Anyone got any ideas at the moment?
No, and the alarm's gone off.
We're out of time.
Ironically.
Okay, so now it's time for this week's featurette. How do we survive?
Featurette.
I like featurette. That's nice. We'll keep that.
No, I'm not. I wasn't mocking it.
Okay, so now it's time for our little featurette of today's podcast, Surviving Supernatural Shizzle. and that's basically looking back at several different genres of horror and going over how we can best survive those predicaments, shall we say, that come up. So it's about, give us some handy hints that you may have picked up from a spiel from a certain film of how to survive horrors.
If you're going to survive horror, you need to turn back the clock to Scream and examine the main rules they set out on how to survive a horror film. And so what we'll do, we'll check them off as we go. So the first one is that you can never have sex. Everyone got that one? You can never have sex. And I'm single and you two are married, so I think we're all covered on that one. Right, next one. You can never drink or do drugs. I think that's you, Deadpool. And the last one, under any circumstances, can you say, I'll be right back? They were what was set out in the film Scream and cover most sort of slashery horror films that we've seen. But are they true? Is there anything we can add to that? What would you be doing in those situations?
Okay, so if we break it down by slasher films in general to start with, then, okay, and then we'll come to talk about some of the other genres within horror, maybe the likes of vampires, werewolves, all that kind of good stuff, werewolves for Damien. Okay, so one of the things that's always bugged me with particularly American slasher films, and maybe it's just an American thing, I don't know, but it seems to be the thing where you can't turn on the main light. If you look, they always have the little lamps, and they have to go around looking for the little lamps, and they turn on a little
or a candle.
Yeah,
everyone has handy candles nowadays.
Yeah, but normally that's when the power cut happens. But even before then, they walk in the door. They don't turn on the big main light. I would. I do. They just go for the little lamp.
Put big light on.
And they're Americans, so it's not about saving the earth, you know. But that's one of my bugbears from slasher films.
No, I totally agree. Also, adding to that, their need to move towards the loud, scary noise. Just run out the house and drive off.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Well, I think, to be fair, none of this matters for any of us because we're all above the age of 40. So there's only, if there's three of us in this room, say we were in this room rather than on a call, there's only one of us is going to get killed. Because there's only ever one person over the age of 40 who gets killed, and that's the person that happens to be driving the younger people to the off license or dropping them off at the party or whatever. That's the person that gets killed.
Don't forget Brett's a teacher as well.
Yeah,
there you go. He's fucked then, isn't he? He's going to be driving the minibus or whatever it is.
No, he's not.
Brett is not driving.
No, he's not. I don't have a driver's license. One of you two's dying.
You're going to be the teacher chaperone guy.
Yeah.
You're the one that gets dropped off with the kids whilst the minibus driver goes back home again. And he's like, right, see you next Wednesday. I won't say that. So see you next Wednesday. You're the one that's left behind to look after the kids. You're killed off in the first 5 minutes because you can't have anyone over the age of probably about 25 in these films because they all have to be young so they can make stupid decisions like going upstairs to investigate what the noise is rather than just getting the fuck out of the house. No. So you're dead. Job done. That's film sorted.
To be fair, I see myself more as the weird janitor guy who later on has something important to do with the plot and may die.
Have you ever mopped a floor? In your life, have you ever mopped a floor?
Yeah, yes. He has.
Has he?
Yeah, remember at East Point.
East Point. We all went to East Point at one point or another.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He hasn't done it since.
I love the way you said like I was like some real rich kid.
I know, he didn't mean you were
rich. No, it's just lazy ass. It wasn't about being rich, it's about being a lazy ass.
It's just a shame your mum's not behind you. We could have brought her in for some witness testimony.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, what other nuggets of information?
I mean,
slasher films.
They were the main ones out by Scream. I mean, the other ones that I would say is like if a house is abandoned, leave it abandoned. There's a reason it's abandoned. You don't need to go exploring. You don't need to sleep in there overnight and have a wild sex party in there. There's a reason for it. And also, stay away from graveyards. My film be well boring. And also, if you hit something in the side of the road, maybe check it's all right and not leave it there or try and bury it and cover it up because the following summer it's going to be shit for you.
And report it to the police straight away. Obviously, kids.
And also, the important one, if a dog's barking or a small child's trying to tell you something, listen to them. It will save your life. Don't just keep ignoring them for like half an hour and then something really bad happens and like, that dog knows something. Maybe Billy's down the well. Maybe your wife's about to get chainsawed. Listen to the small creatures. They're there to help.
Unless it's Cujo, and then if there's a dog barking, run.
Run, yeah.
No,
or that.
We're talking slasher films because I was going to butt in there because he said about listen to the small kid. Don't listen if you're not.
Yeah, slasher
if you're in a
film, yeah.
Paranormal film. Don't listen to the small kid.
Yeah,
Stay
run
away
away
from the
from
small kid.
kid. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, paranormal films. Yeah, first of all, put your telly outside. Remove any toys that are quite freaky, like clowns. What else do you need to do? Any strange paintings of mirrors need to go.
I think the other one from slasher films as well. If you're running in the woods, look out for branches and roots because it's the woods.
And wear shoes. Wear shoes. Wear appropriate footwear. If you're going to go to the woods and run around, wear appropriate footwear. Someone's trying to kill you. You could tread on a pine cone or anything and do a permanent injury.
Those pesky pine cones.
Or they'd hurt if you stepped on one of those.
Yeah.
I reckon you're right.
Nature's Lego.
That would be a great T-shirt. Just a picture of a pine cone with Nature's Lego.
Copyright. Yeah, we're having that. Yeah, so we got the slasher done. Supernatural then.
So I think with this one, surround yourself. So get in some help, whether that's
I thought you don't surround yourself with salt.
Yeah.
No, but when you look at the supernatural thing, things like Poltergeist and the other one with the doll, not Chucky, but the other one we spoke about, the other
Annabelle and all that.
Just don't waste any time. Okay, as soon as stuff starts kicking off, go to Google, get in a paranormal investigator, hopefully one with a high-pitched voice that's going to sort you out, or a priest, because throughout the films, whether it's The Exorcist and the priest gets it and takes the flak, or again if it's Poltergeist and they come on board and actually they share in the pain, they're not alone. That's my advice. Get in some help straight away. Don't mess around.
Give Ed and Lorraine a call.
Yeah.
Although they're dead now, so it might actually be them that are haunting it. I think they're both dead. Yeah, they're both dead.
Lorraine's who's what? Oh, the people. Yeah, sorry. I was
Warrants.
thinking,
I think they're both dead.
yeah, I was thinking of what's her face on Most Haunted.
Well, it's no good getting Yvette Fielding involved. Jesus.
No, when she was dead, I was like, what? When? And then I realised she didn't mean them. It just shocked me. But yeah, the other supernatural thing as well is, I mean, what helped with when Freddy Krueger went all supernatural, they went and got his mum. They told his mum. Although she may have turned out to be a ghost or something as well. But she was a nun at that point, not when Elm Street 3. And
I didn't go and get her. He was the psychiatrist was wandering around aimlessly and started fun. She came to seek them out more than the other way around, I think.
Yeah, but
it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, but they still told his mum, which is
there's nothing wrong with that.
So basically,
the universal way of sorting a problem out: go and tell their mum,
or try and do the psychoanalyst bit and try and work out what their problems are and help resolve them. Is that what you're going with this?
Well, it worked for.
I think there's a lot of don'ts. Don't do a Ouija board. Don't do a seance. Don't stand in the middle of the room with a mirror in front of you and try and ask any questions. Like you said, Paul, just get the fuck out.
If there's a scary looking doll, burn it or don't buy it. That's the best thing. I don't understand why people buy those scary looking dolls in the first place. Just don't buy them.
I wouldn't burn it in case it then hated me and then came after me.
Well, chucking out the house isn't going to get rid of it forever, is it?
It's still alive. It's still, you haven't technically buried it.
If you've already got it for some stupid reason,
post it to the occult museum in the States. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, but if you've already got the stupid doll for some reason, then give it away to somebody straight away. Make it their problem.
An important fact we need to point out as well is like a lot of the supernatural blame could be placed on realtors where they don't really look where they're building houses and their blocks of flats and things because, you know.
Can I just point out here, this is a UK-based podcast. We have estate agents and developers. We don't have realtors. I was just playing to our largest section of the audience.
in Trinidad and Tobago?
Hey, the 9 people that listen from there enjoy this podcast. And we
Shout
appreciate
out
you
if you're
checking
listening.
out the website. Big up to our TNT posse.
So basically, you're blaming government guidelines and planning rules for lots of issues.
Well, firstly, don't build on an Indian burial ground, Native
definitely.
American burial ground rather, which we don't really have that much problem with over here.
Or a cemetery,
Or a cemetery in general, or some big tower that may be used to bring in energy from different dimensions and maybe bring forth Zool, like they did in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they didn't check the plans when they gave permission, did they? Yeah, right.
No, it was set to be like a hyper energy conductor to pierce dimensions. So, you need to look at those things. And also, if you're a mad scientist, maybe you don't want to do any crazy experiments or try and transport yourself from one pod to another or build stuff from dead bodies. It's going to end badly.
Yeah, just stick to time travel.
Yeah, that's all right. That's just more humorous and fun for all the family.
Anything else on supernaturals and how to survive?
Basically, if you can build a ghost contamination unit in the base of a fire department old building, you might be all right at helping some of them. But otherwise, if you haven't got those qualifications, you shouldn't be meddling in that stuff, really.
So this comes back to finding scientists to help you out as opposed to paranormal investigators.
You're right.
So if you can't get a little lady with a high-pitched voice or, a married teen or a priest to come and help you out, go find the Ghostbusters.
Or the strange person that lives at the end of the road who appears to be scary or dodgy, but actually has some kind of deep, meaningful thing and knows what to do.
Yeah, in those I was going to say that. So it might be the one that looks scary. Go to them and speak to them as long as they're not got glowing red eyes or something like that.
This is starting to sound more like Home Alone than.
Nah, that was not okay. So we've done that. We've done the slashers. We've done the supernatural.
Werewolves.
What about werewolves? Okay, werewolves.
So I think for this one,
saying it.
My advice would be become the love interest.
I was going to say find a nurse.
No, because if you look at the history, then you've got a better chance surviving if you're the love interest, i.e. the likes of what was it, Wolf with Jack Nicholson. Become the love interest. I'm just saying that's how they survived. American Werewolf in London.
Dog Soldiers, the love interest is part of the pack.
Well, exactly.
Well,
I'd rather be part of the pack than than running away from them.
Yeah, what you need a wolf cop who is a wolf but is a cop and upholds the law, and then he would be able to help you out because best of both worlds.
Yeah, let's face it. Silver bullets in this country. If you have a gun, you're in enough trouble. Let alone try and get hold of some silver bullets. So you kind of scuppered there.
You want to get some silver butts?
You can do if you want, Damien.
That's what it sounded like you were saying.
I'm saying, yeah, it did sound like butts. What about if you had a catapult and some 10-pence pieces? Would that work?
Only if they're silver dimes.
You get them between the eyes. Or maybe some nice cutlery.
Or just don't go on full moons.
No, that would probably be the main one.
You got 29, 30 days of the rest of the month. Just hide yourself away.
Go about your business on those days.
Take a little sickie from work and lock yourself away at night time. Somewhere safe.
Maybe, use some chains. Enjoy yourself.
That's a different podcast.
What about, that's just reminding me, what if some fog was coming in across the land? What would be your advice to maybe some of natural phenomena like fog or
just
scary rain?
Don't answer the door because they seem to knock. So
they've got manners. The more well-bred supernatural that likes to knock the door. Yeah. Same as vampires. They can't come in unless you invite them. Although nowadays, some of you crazy kids probably will invite them because you think vampires are cool. They're not like Twilight. And anyway, Twilight's Batman now, so the world's gone weird. I forgot his name, Patterson. The final bit of advice that I would give people as well is, if you're ever maybe a job as a policeman or you're somewhere and you get invited back to your new partner's secluded old town or island or something like that, don't go. You're going to be a sacrifice. It's not going to end well. We've seen it in The Get Out. We've seen it in The Wicker Man. We've seen it in Dogged. You know, stuff like that happens. They come out and recruit fresh DNA, fresh blood to pull back into their horrific hives of people. You know, before you know it, you're going to have a goat head on your head, dragged up a hill, chucked in a bamboo man and set on fire or something. So just be careful about that. You know, make sure you're getting involved with someone who's responsible. Check their LinkedIn. Maybe look through their Facebook profile page. What are their pictures like? If there's a picture of the family day out and mum and dad are wearing moose heads and the brother's dressed as a cow, maybe they're not the kind of family you want to be with.
Steer well clear.
Definitely. Especially, you know.
You don't want to end up in a bamboo man. Did you mean wicker?
Whatever. I wasn't sure it's copyrighted.
The bamboo man's available at IKEA.
I was just trying to appeal to our 9 people.
That's what happened when you ordered the film on Wish.
Yeah, that was the one with Nicolas Cage in it. But yeah. So I mean, I think that's the main thing. And I would like to say, drawing our attention now. Then, who would be your ultimate horror hero then? If you're in one of these situations, from all the different films and things we've seen, who would be that one person you'd want with you in that situation? You know, maybe you're caught in a slasher's haunted house barn type thing. Maybe your TV's come on and someone's clawing through it or trying to pull you through it. Or maybe you've gone home to a nice weekend away with your boyfriend and you're just about to be sacrificed. Who would be that one horror hero or heroine or creature or child or whatever it might be, pet? Who's going to be the person that you would be calling upon to help you?
I guess initials, when you first started that conversation, I went Sidney Prescott. But then I thought, actually, she's a selfish bitch and would probably just leave you to die anyway. She doesn't really save that many people, does she?
Not
she
really.
Tends to just she kicks a bit of ass, but
to be fair, by the end of the second,
she will leave you to die.
By the end of the second one, most of her friends were dead though, so maybe she didn't want to make new ones.
Yeah.
Social anxiety and all that. But I'm trying to think who I would pick. Off the top of my head, I went with Jack Burton, but he's not really horror. He's
not
more
horror. That went into my head straight away as well. Then I went no.
It was supernatural, but yeah, it's not really.
I'm not sure how much help they would be, but you know, problems shared and all that, and you know that they try is the Frog Brothers. You know.
Yeah.
Good shout.
They would.
They wouldn't leave you.
There's bravery in them too.
Yeah, exactly.
Definite bravery.
And at least they're tooled up as well. They've got enough gear. They've got their stakes are ready.
And if worst comes to it, you can just leave them fighting and try and make a quick exit.
Yeah.
No, I like that. There,
I would be on board with Sean's plan to just kind of get somewhere and wait for it all to blow over.
and you know,
so,
when
it's fair you can come here.
For a zombie,
got plenty of stuff behind the bar.
That door's not very sturdy, though, is it?
No,
but it does open outwards, so you know you can't really push the door in. You have to.
I was thinking as well of the other group in Shaun of the Dead, headed up by
if you get hold of them.
What's her face from who was in Spaced as well? Jessica's group. You know, with Matt Lucas, and it was basically they were like the group that did everything right and came back with the army while they were all sat in the pub getting beered up. Yeah,
they were like the proper A team.
Yeah, they'd be quite handy. I'm trying to think who else is in that group now, but I can't remember. But it was Cameo City. Other people, I would obviously.
Fred and Wilma could be quite useful.
Yeah, they have taken down a number of different spooks and spectres. Yeah. Although, isn't it always Shaggy and Scooby that end up saving the day because they have some mishap?
By accident, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so let's just say the whole Scooby gang then, minus the shit.
Covered it. Scrappy.
Scrappy. Although to be fair, if you all got trapped, you'd have something to eat.
He also fits through small gaps. But, you know, there is that. He did have his uses. But then also, what about probably one of the greatest horror heroines of her time, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street? Although she kind of died in the third one. You know, heroic, brave, came back for the others, put everyone before herself.
Well, I don't know. Jamie Lee Curtis has lived through more sequels than anyone else, hasn't she?
Well, she died in every one.
She's still in them.
Yeah, I know, but they just ignored the one
Just keep
before
bringing her
every
back.
time.
Exactly. So she can reincarnate. What better?
Oh,
She's
that's
probably the
it.
cause of it all in the first place.
I've got it. Kenny from South Park. He cannot die, no matter how many times you kill him. He's the true
Yeah, he's
Michael
not much use
Freddy.
though, is he?
Yeah, good point. Who else would there be? I'm trying to think.
What's the gas station zombie in is it just Bob?
Oh, Bud. Yeah,
Bud.
from the one they keep and put the headphones on him and all that.
Yeah,
I know the one you mean. That's from.
I reckon he could be quite handy.
Yeah.
It's not Day of the Dead, is it?
No, it is.
Do write in if you know what the hell we're talking about.
It's not City of the Living Dead. It is. Is it Day? Because we had Night of the Living Dead. Maybe it's Day of the Living Dead.
That's what I said.
Kind of. I can't remember now.
Maybe I'm doubting myself now, but I'm sure it's Day of the. No.
Yeah, Day of the Dead.
Is it?
I'm sure it's Dead.
So what I said at the very start then.
The original Day of the Dead. Because then they remade it, didn't they? With
Damien, how can you be so obtuse and not mention that it was the original you were referring to?
Oh yeah, sorry. I reckon he'd be quite handy.
Yeah, he's always a good one.
Never no harm in having a friendly zombie about. I guess we cross genres a little bit in this discussion.
Yeah, well, horror does that sometimes. But what about as well? Maybe like I can imagine someone like Chucky would be quite handy because he'd probably get fed up with zombies and just want to kill him himself for fun. He might be a bit on his. He'll probably kill you at the end once he's killed everyone.
Well, I think to be fair, if you're in a slasher film and you've got Chucky, who's not the main slasher, he's not going to want to be upstaged by your Mike Myers or Freddy. So as we said before, when we did the Devil's Night dog fight,
yeah,
got that right. When we did that, he's going to just get pissed off with all these other nonsense running around. So,
but as you say,
you can leave him to go and do the bizzo, and you can leg it.
Yeah, but as you say, chances are he'll come and find you at some point, won't he?
Yeah, but you might be miles away by then.
Yeah, and now you can send your toys off to be sort of put in perspex glass that's all sealed and hermetically sealed, etc. So as long as you can get to him and grab him, get him and put in one of the
take him to a toy collector.
Yeah, take him to a toy collector,
and the box will never be opened again.
Yeah.
So be sat next to Stinky Pete, really.
Yeah.
Now there's a film. There's a cinematic team up waiting to happen. What about then? Who would be the one person then you wouldn't want to meet down that dark alley? And this is also can be a teaser for next week's episode where we talk about stuff that shit us up. Have a think.
The creeping water.
Ooh, the creeping water. Okay, and yourself, Paul?
Oh, I'm just not very good with anything supernatural. So I think if there was a slasher,
a clown.
I hate. Don't get me started on clowns. But why do you mention that? But I think if slashers, are on board, then I'll have a chance. With vampires, I've got a chance. If it's a clown or something supernatural, I wouldn't be very good at that. AK demon out of Evil Dead or something. That no.
Okay, demon out of Evil Dead. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. There's that bit with the voice coming out from under the
floorboards.
The hatch.
Oh, when the hatch popped up. Yeah. Oh, I totally remember that. Yeah, that was freaky. I was gonna go.
You all are gonna be here next week when we talk about this, aren't you?
No.
Because it's already a little bit creepy in here on my own as it is.
Just gonna be a bit. That would have been even funny if you'd have turned your video off at the same time, bro.
Yeah, if you'd have thought ahead, you could have texted each other and planned it.
Yes, definitely going to be there next week. As I said, final day for me, so I'll be in full party mode.
Okay, so as a recap, then we've got the creeping water, we've got the Evil Dead,
or clowns,
and I'm going to go for Patrick. And that was the name of the film. And Patrick was a comatose hospital patient who basically spends the whole movie in a coma. But the whole idea being that, like when your senses are gone, the other ones get stronger. So things are happening to the people around him. It's an Australian film, and I just remember watching it probably at a far too young age, and it just really freaked me out as a child. And also, there is a close tie with the werewolf bikers from American Werewolf in London. Because that bit when they smash through the family's window. Were they werewolf bikers? I forgot what they were now.
Sort of, yeah. No, well, they're not. They're
like
I don't
pigs
really
or
know
something.
what. Yeah, zombie.
Yeah, whatever they
Nazi
were, kind of thing.
bikers or
Nazi
something,
biker thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that freaked me out as well as a child. The rest of the film I was fine with, but that was the bit that gave me a nightmare. I was happy with all the rest. That was fine. But but we'll devote. There's a sneak peek taster for what's coming next week, viewers. So let us know about what destroyed your childhood, what made you traumatized for the rest of your life to do with films and movies. We're not a counselling session.
Yeah, that's I'll go down that route.
So
I think we should have probably just we should have called this episode just Horror Waffle.
We're good at horror waffle. That's probably a podcast.
That would make a good film, wouldn't it? Horror Waffle. Someone buys a second-hand waffle maker from a garage sale and it's possessed.
I'm just checking.
I'm already seeing it.
Yeah.
Well, and a waffle maker kind of looks like a mouth.
Oh, there's.
The victims have got their heads crushed in with the waffle thing on their, waffle burns on their faces.
Little bits of batter.
Let's do that. We can get this made. I'll tell you what, some of the shit that I've watched this week.
In these days of
all we need is an iPhone and a waffle maker.
Done.
Let's do it. Stay tuned for the Cult Faction short film contest.
Okay, so this has been the Cult Faction podcast, episode 31, Horror Waffle, otherwise known as Surviving Supernatural Shizzle. Check us out on cultfaction.com, and we're also popping up on various TikTok, whatever. And what's the other one, Brett?
Instagram, social media.
No, the new one.
Oh, Twitch.
Twitch. No idea what that is, but we're on there as well. As Damien said, if you do have any comments, maybe some suggestions for some upcoming shows that because we're obviously struggling, that would be most appreciated. Drop us an email at cultfactionpodcast@mail.com or get in contact with us on the website or on Twitter. So thanks for listening. It's a goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me, and we'll be right back. I can't believe Gary Lineker's Nick idea.
You're the host, Paul.
Am I? Run, Forrest, run.
There's a statue of us in Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm not fuck off.
I didn't know they had TVs in strip clubs.
Oh, they do. When you got to pay extra to
watch quality.
Shite it. Oh, bollocks to it. Hang on.
Oh, yeah. I'm always excited.
It's all about the planning.
16 in the clip and 1 in the hole. Ain't dog and orange here, make somebody's turn cold.
If you were in the room, you'd both be getting a slap right now.